This is my journey.
This is my journey.
This is my journey.
This is my journey. This is my journey.
This is my journey.
This is my journey.
This is my journey with jazz. So we have been focusing on Chicago because, well, that's where the most of the happenings were. That's where Joe Oliver was. That's where Louis Armstrong was. Obviously, that's where Fletcher Henderson was, and that's where Benny Goodman was. Fletcher Henderson actually wrote a lot of Benny Goodman's music, especially his most popular tune, Sing, Sing, Sing. Oh yeah, and this music is all over the country. Kansas City, LA, Atlanta, Detroit, you name it, and New York. But something happened. There was an invention, a little box with two knobs, and a musician could play a note way over there, and it get recorded and broadcast all around the world. This central place for this radio technology was New York City. And before you know it, all the jazz musicians headed to New York to take advantage of broadcasting, baby. There was a band down in D.C., Washington, D.C. that is, called the Washingtonians. It was led by Edward Kennedy Ellington, who's also known as Duke Ellington. He made his trip to New York City and he started playing gigs and became very, very popular. A club opened up called the Cotton Club. They were gonna be the club to end all clubs. They tried to get Joe Oliver to take the gig, but Joe was hard to deal with. So they hired Duke Ellington. And Duke Ellington went from the Washingtonians to Duke Ellington and his orchestra. They became famous and celebrated as an orchestra. The Cotton Club became famous and celebrated as a club, and two jazz legends were launched, the Duke Ellington Orchestra and the Cotton Club. And swing was really happening, baby, in New York City, all because of that little box with two knobs. Thank you very much.
The music of the swing era is really, really fun because it kind of has a different energy to it. It's a really cool idea of having, the big band was kind of the main band that played this music. So you had the energy of like 12 to 17 musicians playing this music together, and you had dancers that really kind of went along with the music, and it was really kind of how the rhythm section and the horns came together to create this big sound. Kind of like this bounce, that swing. That's kind of why it's called the swing era. It really defined the term. So the music is really cool because it covers a lot of range, from kind of like the fast dancers to the ballads with the crooners that were also sitting with the bands and stuff like that. So it's just music that is to me, it's very joyful.
What I like about that era so much is is the solid beat and the swing era with the orchestras playing the dance music, which was very important for that time because we were coming out of a Great Depression and people were depressed, and also the World War II. So the people started dancing and they were going crazy dancing, and the bands picked up on this, and they had the orchestras playing all this dance music. They were swinging and going around like crazy and having so much fun, and I think it was very, very important for the people to have this music to dance to.
What I love about this era of music is how much the melody changed. Everything was focused on the melody more so than the ensemble. You see, in New Orleans music, there was a lot of melodies going on at the same time, riffing, improvising off of each other. And in the swing era, they said, hey, let's be more concise about what melodies are being played and by who. And so the songs, they're different in that way. Like and so there is this forefront of melody that you can catch on to. Is catchy. It makes you want to listen more and to see what everyone else has got to say.
The beautiful thing about the swing era is that how the music came together. The trombones formed a trombone section, and now we're playing unified music. Together with the saxophones and the trumpet, as well as the rhythm section, it really helped bring this and cultivate this music to a dance music, which is intended for dance, to get up, to move, to feel good.
Swing era music. Again, the name says it all. It swings. One of the great things about New Orleans music was the groove, and swing is just another type of groove. And in the swing era, it was made for dancing. And all of that music got people up, got them moving. So the swing era music was huge, and that's the thing I love about it, that swing and that dancing feeling.
There was a lot of stuff going on coming out of the New Orleans era tradition in style of jazz. We started to move into the swing era, where the saxophones became a more prominent instrument. They kind of took over the clarinetist role. They kind of crossed the bridge between the instrumentalists and the vocalists. The saxophone kind of had like more of a vocal role in the band. Like they would be just as melodic and just as expressive as some of the early scat singers, which was really exciting, and turned into what the saxophone is today in terms of the language and the expression and some of the harmonic figures that developed later on in the bebop era.
You know, I didn't grow up in this era, but there's a lot of clips on YouTube that showcase a lot of the dancers, the Lindy Hoppers, that dance to this music. And you know, there's a few movies that don't necessarily come to mind at this point, but there's a few clips that showcase that. I mentioned Slam Stewart. He was in a few of the movies of the era, and actually a lot of the musicians, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, they were featured in a lot of films of this era. So it's really cool to kind of see the clips on YouTube that have kind of narrowed it down to those specific musicians and the scenes where they do that. And also there's some great recordings. One of my personal favorites is Duke Ellington. It comes to mind, Jack the Bear, which was a bass feature for Jimmy Bland. You hear like the bass player almost like being Jack the Bear. You know, it's like this big, strong sound right to the forefront of the band. It's a really cool recording.
Recently, I've seen a movie with Bing Crosby called High Society, where he's introducing Louis Armstrong's band. And they sing this song, and they go through all the instruments and kind of explain how jazz is built up from the drums, and then they add the bass and the piano and etc. So that's a really good movie to watch. Bing Crosby, he was from another era where it was more smooth singing. It wasn't as jazzy what he was doing, but when he heard the jazz, he loved it, and he wanted to introduce all these players.
I've got to say, one of my favorite swing era recordings is Take the A Train. This is an awesome, awesome song that was written by Billy Strayhorn. A lot of people say that Duke Ellington wrote the song, but he didn't. It was actually his partner in writing, Billy Strayhorn, one of the greatest composers of the 20th century. Incredible, incredible guy. And he wrote this song for Duke. He gave it to him, and the melody is beautiful. The way that Duke has this intro at the beginning emulated the sound of the train. And they're using sounds in a new way. That sound wasn't yet invented at that point in time.
1 O'Clock Jump by the Count Basie Orchestra. This song just encompasses a genre in itself, with how the music and the swing is displayed, from the riffs through the sections to Count Basie's playing himself.
I tell you, one of the songs that like Count Basie comes to mind when you talk swing era for me. The Basie band just had that feel-good feeling. One of the songs I like from Basie was actually one that he used as his theme song, 1 O'Clock Jump. I love that, and again, it just feels so good.
I think if you dig into anything coming from Count Basie or Ellington, there's such a rich history there. All you have to do is just Google either one of those guys' names, and you'll start to see some of the big bands, and then you'll go into some of the individuals that went on to shape the sound of the swing era.
My journey with jazz, yeah, baby.